Hi, welcome to Goods In. This is the Audiolab M-DAC Plus. Pretty big one today, pretty big box. Only just about fits on this chair here, but just a bit of background for those of you who don't subscribe or have just come to purely for the unboxing. I originally bought a PM6006 amp and had some issues with it around digital noise on all the inputs, all the digital inputs that is. First one was faulty in the left channel, second one had this digital noise issue, so I returned it. And I've ended up going down a completely different route of getting a DAC and using my previous amplifier. So I've kind of gone with this just because it looks really interesting. It's a little bit over kind of what I need it for. It's a bit overkill, but there's certain features of it that I really like the look of. So I'm going to just cut into this now and show you what you get with it. This retails, you can pick this up for about £650 in the UK. You'll see sites selling it for £800. I really wouldn't pay £800 for it because you can get it much cheaper than that. We'll take a look at it and do a quick walk through. It's provided by, well, I bought it, but it's an Audiolab product. Audiolab are one of the well-known UK hi-fi companies, but they're also one of the standard UK hi-fi companies that is now no longer owned by the people it was originally owned by. Audiolab are owned by International Audio Group along with kind of Wharfdale and stuff. And I don't know who's Cambridge owned by, I'm not too sure. Cambridge Audio, but anyway, not owned by the same people that they were originally owned by. So here we are, very nicely packaged. Don't know what this comes with, no idea, but let's take this out. Actually, I'll tell you what, let's just lift the whole thing out and get rid of the box. Let's put the box to one side. There we go. Okay, right, so far so good. Now this is, you can see M-DAC Plus on there, and there is nothing more interesting than a mains cable. A battery provided for the remote, and here's the remote itself, very small and simple. Let's take a quick look at that. Nice simple remote. Just zoom in on that a bit. There we are. Lovely small simple remote there, made in this is sort of metal finish, plastic finish there. Nice. It feels pretty solid. You'd kind of expect it to at this price point, but hey, it's not megabucks, but it is. In the hi-fi world, it's not megabucks because people spend crazy amounts of money on hi-fi stuff, and I know a lot of people will be thinking this is crazy money, which it kind of is for a DAC, but I got so sick of amps just letting me down again and again that I've just gone for this route instead. Let's take this out. I've gone with the black version. And that is all there is to it. Again, I'm going to just zoom in here if I can. Line things up. I haven't got a monitor, so I can't really see what I'm doing too well. So just two buttons on the front, all this fully metal construction. Even the buttons, I think, metal. Feels absolutely wonderful to the touch. Really, really solid. Really good feel. I mean, it weighs 4 kilos, this thing, which is quite a lot. But more importantly, I think, it's dead simple. I'm not too keen on the height, as I mentioned on another video. I'm not mad on the height because it's just a little bit big. I mean, is it really necessary to have the DAC this big? But apparently they did it this big to put the power supply in it, because previously it was a separate power supply unit. So this is the most important side. This is the business side, isn't it? This is the business end. So let's get this framed right and zoom in as much as we can here. And let's just walk around the back. So power on off, standard mains in at, well, in this case, 220 to 240 volts. And then we've got balance line outputs, analog out, and RCA outputs on these lovely RCA connectors. I've never seen RCA connectors as solidly constructed as that. Maybe I'm just not using the right gear. And then we have the digital section, which has 2 digital outs. So anything that comes, that you put in digitally, you can also take out digitally as well via coaxial SPDIF and optical. And I've read also it does AES out as well, but I don't know about that. It certainly does AES in, so AES-EBU, professional digital standard. You can read about that on the internet. And again, you get 2 coaxial SPDIF and 2 Toslink connectors for digital in as well. You have a Type A and a Type B USB input, so you can connect sort of Apple devices to this and phones. And then you can do trigger stuff as well to trigger stuff for on power amps or whatever. If you want to have this connected as part of a power amp setup, I think that's what this is for. So, you turn certain stuff on and it can trigger various activity on that power amp. And that's all there is to it. There's, as far as the actual product goes, this is, it's so beautifully made. It supports DSD, these supports up to 192 kilohertz, 24-bit in. USB supports up to, 384 or whatever, the next one up. And yeah, so that's the limitations currently of the DAC itself, but I wouldn't really say it's a limitation because it's fairly future-proofed with that kind of spec. I'm going to be using it via AES-EBU because my sound card outputs that, and just standard RCA out for the moment. So it's a lovely, it feels absolutely great. I know I've said it, but it just feels wonderful to the touch. Let's try and get that in shot again. Oh gosh, it's really difficult for me to do this looking at the screen. Got a plastic bit along the front there. Now, I haven't powered it up, I realise that. Maybe I should power it up. Do you think I should power it up on this video? Yeah, why not? Let's get it powered up. Right, so I've grabbed the cable, shoved it in the back, so I've just got the power cable in and the AES-3 cable in here. This is a bit weird, the fact that it's not a non-standard XLR connector. It's not kind of your metal clasp there, it's just a plastic thing. It's a bit unexpected. And powered it up, and if I can lift this round, you can see there that we have it syncing successfully, and it's currently displaying the actual sample rate. So I've got my card currently set to 96 kilohertz. I was just trying out some different ones, and it's showing it as 96.00, a bit of drift around that frequency. That's totally expected. So I'll just go through the menus quickly. Manual. You get a bit of a flicker on the display. I'm not seeing that myself. The display is actually not that bright. I've got it set to maximum brightness and it's not very bright. I don't think it really needs to be. It'd be annoying, I think, having this on all the time and it was a really bright display. But it would be nice to be able to have its brightest point brighter than this. You go through the menus just by pressing the select button, and then you've got a massive, I think you've got like 7 or 12 or something different digital filter options to adjust it for your particular equipment. And then you've got your DSD bandwidth setting, display brightness, which I've got set to level 8, which is the maximum, track and time, show if available, sampling rate, actual frequency. So this is where you've either got your nominal frequency, which in this case would just show 96K, or your actual frequency. Interesting to see the actual frequency, so leave it on that just because I'm a geek. Jitter rejection set to automatic, or low bandwidth, medium bandwidth, high bandwidth. And then your default input is recall the last input, which I guess makes the most sense for me. And trigger, then you've got stuff around your trigger controls. And then you have trigger B control, then you have your balance setting and your output level. So your output level can either be set here. It was originally set to adjustable, in which case I think it works off the volume, but you can set it to a 0 dB, 2.2 volts RMS, plus 3, so 3.1 volts RMS, or adjustable. So it's got full settings there. So I think that is what gives me my line level out. If you put headphone sockets on, if you put headphones in here, then the volume control is separate from everything else at that point, and it has a separate kind of setting for that. But as soon as the headphones are pulled out, then it goes back to kind of whatever the line output setting is set to. So that's all there is. I mean, that's all it does. It is just a DAC. It purely is taking something in, converting it to analog, and pushing it out again for you to use elsewhere. It's an expensive DAC, for me anyway, but you know, some of you may disagree. It's meant to be a great bit of kit. The M-DAC is very highly praised. and the M-DAC Plus was seen as a majorly good upgrade. I will see how it works with my setup, but there we go. First, just my first impressions, quick overview of the M-DAC Plus from Audiolab.